To watch these important lessons, subscribe to DP Education's YouTube channel right now. Click on the bell icon to stay updated on the latest lessons. Sri Lanka's largest free online school, DP Education.
Right, children. Now we are going to start the second chapter of this lesson. Do you remember what we learned in the first chapter? We learned that Earth is made up of 3 layers. The outermost layer is known as the crust, the innermost layer is known as the core, and in between the core and the crust, the mantle present. So in this topic, this part, we are going to learn about tectonic plates and plate tectonics. Some of you might know what tectonic plates are, but for most of you, I am sure this is a totally new topic. Let's see what is here. Look, here's some information given on an earthquake, right? The following figure shows an earth map of a strong earthquake on 25th April 2015 in Kathmandu, Nepal. Right? This is Nepal. This is where Kathmandu is present. Okay? So this is the area that earthquake was affected. Right? Thousands of people died and thousands of people got injured and thousands of people were left homeless. This earthquake occurred on the Eurasian and Indian plate margins, right? What is the meaning of this Eurasian and Indian plate? What are these plates, children? We are going to learn it now, right? So 2 destructive earthquakes have been recorded in the years 1905 and 1934 in this area, which means the same area. Destructive earthquakes have happened even before, right, in the same area. Now, what is the reason for this, children? Now, here this is all about very destructive earthquakes happened many times in the same area. And here I discuss about some Eurasian and Indian plate margins as well. What are these plates? What are these plate margins? This is what we are going to learn in this chapter, right? Okay, look at this picture. This is a world map. You all can see there are these continents, countries, the ocean as well. At the same time, you all can see all these black color lines. What are they, children? Right? Tectonic plates of the earth. This is the name given to the picture. Tectonic plates of the earth. What is the meaning of tectonic plates, children? Let's go through this one. The surface layer of the earth is the crust. We all know that. The crust is divided into sections called tectonic plates. Now, even though we think the crust continues throughout its surface, it does not. Even though we cannot see, the crust is divided into large slabs of rocks. Right? The huge slabs of rocks, these are known as tectonic plates. Okay, children? So the crust is divided into sections called tectonic plates. Right? These tectonic plates move relative to each other. Right? So look at this picture. Now this picture shows the tectonic plates. Right? Look at this picture, children. We'll take a different color. Right. Okay. So look at these black color lines. I'm going to draw on one of these lines here. Right? Here it gives, this is what? The name is given Philippine Tectonic Plate. Right? Upper part given European Tectonic Plate. Look at this one. It's another plate. Right? Look at this one, children. Sri Lanka is also located on this Australian-Indian tectonic plate. Right? Look at this one. You all can see. See, this is the Pacific tectonic plate here. Right? Can you see any land part on this Pacific tectonic plate? In these margins, there are like very tiny pieces of lands. Other than that, the whole plate present in the ocean area. right? There's another one here. South American tectonic plate present. North American tectonic plate present. Okay, children? Which means when we consider the earth crust is divided into these huge slabs of rocks, right? And these are known as tectonic plates. The speciality is in tectonic plates, oceans and lands both contained in the same tectonic plates. Right, children? So remember, so the places where two tectonic plates separate from each other are known as tectonic plate margins or boundaries of tectonic plates. Okay, so you all can see here when you consider this Pacific tectonic plate, all the margins present in the ocean. Even by looking at this picture, you can understand most of these tectonic plate margins, these black color lines, they present in the ocean area. Now here, this is one margin. Now all these red ones I colored also margins of tectonic plates. Right? Right. Look at this one. All these margins present in the ocean. Right? Now we can't see them from outside because even though margins present, we can't see them from outside. Okay? Some of these margins, yes, we can see when they present in the land area. I'm going to give you one example. Okay? Right. So what is the relationship between these tectonic plates and earthquakes, children? Remember, children, these tectonic plates move relative to each other. Right here it's given these tectonic plates move relative to each other. This is very important, children. These tectonic plates move relative to each other. Because of this movement, because of this motion of the tectonic plates, earthquakes might occur. Right, children? What is the meaning of this relative movement? Let's see. Right? We have an assignment to do first. Okay? Study the map in this figure. It shows the tectonic plates of the earth. Find tectonic plates near Sri Lanka, India and Nepal. Now look at this tectonic plate. Even earlier I showed you all this tectonic plate. Right? Look at this tectonic plate named Australian Indian Tectonic Plate. Where is Sri Lanka? This is Sri Lanka. Right? Where is India? This is India. Where is Nepal? Where is Nepal located? Now this upper part, Nepal is located in this part, which means this margin, on the margin of the tectonic plate. Right? So the margin of this tectonic plate, or you can say the boundaries between Australian Indian tectonic plate and this Philippine tectonic plate. On the boundary itself, this Nepal present. Right? So when you consider these three countries, Sri Lanka, India and Nepal, do we experience many earthquakes? We don't experience. Once in a while, minor earthquakes we sometimes experience. Right? What about India? India also does not experience that many earthquakes. But what about Nepal, children? Right? The upper part of the India sometimes experience, but when you consider the South India area, normally they don't experience the earthquakes. What about Nepal? Nepal is a country where always experience earthquakes. What is the reason, children? What do you think is the reason? Now remember, when these tectonic plates move relative to each other, sometimes they collide each other. Right? They contact with each other. Right? Because of this contact, because of the contacting of tectonic plates with each other, in that boundary line, in the marginal area, earthquakes could occur. So when you consider this Nepal, Nepal is a country which is located on a boundary area of two tectonic plates. right? This is the reason that Nepal always experiences earthquakes. Right, children? So here, this is Japan. Look at Japan. That's also located near a certain boundary. So Japan is also a country where always experience earthquakes. Right, children? Okay. Tectonic plates move relative to each other in 3 ways. Now, we learned earlier tectonic plates, right? When we consider the Earth's crust is divided into tectonic plates. These are huge slabs of rocks, right? So these tectonic plates move relative to each other. Because of this movement, earthquakes could occur. Right, children? So when we consider this relative motion of tectonic plates, there are 3 types of movements. There are 3 ways that these tectonic plates move relative to each other. Let's see what are those 3 ways, children. Look at the first one. According to figure A, 2 plates move apart, which means they move away from each other. Right, look at these 2 tectonic plates. If you consider these 2 blocks are tectonic plates, you all can see they move away from each other. Look at the arrows. These type of movements are known as divergent movements. Divergent movement. Right? So what happens? When 2 slabs, let's say that 2 slabs present tectonic plates, when they move away from each other, a trench or a gulf could appear, right? As a result, a deep gulf could occur, a deep gulf or a trench. Because when 2 tectonic plates move away from each other, a trench or a deep gulf could occur. Right, children? What is the second method? Now this is, they move away from each other. Right? Look at this one. The second way. According to figure B, one plate moves upward by pressing down the other. Look at this one. They move towards each other. Right, children? This type of movement is known as convergent movement. Convergent movement. Right? Due to this convergent movement, 2 plates move towards each other and one go over the other, pressing down the other one. Right, children? 2 comes together, convergent movement. The one goes over the other, pressing the other one down. Right? What will happen? Here they contact with each other. Because of this contact, an earthquake might occur. Right? So an earthquake could occur in this instance. Right? So if the movement is faster, the earthquake will be stronger. Right? So an earthquake could occur in this instance. Now what is the first instance? Divergent movement. Second one, divergent movement means move away from each other. Next one, convergent movement, which means moving towards each other. What is the third one? Let's say, right, the third way is according to figure C. Look at this one. 2 plates slide past each other. Look at the 2 arrows. They go to the either side, right? So here what happens? If there are 2 tectonic plates present, they move like this, like slide past each other, right? This type of movement is known as transform movement, right? Transform movement. So they slide past. Here also they contact with each other. Therefore, an earthquake is possible. Okay? Earthquakes could occur in this instance too. Right. Now, you all have a good knowledge on tectonic plates. Now you know that Earth crust is divided into huge slabs of rocks called tectonic plates, and they move relative to each other. There are three ways that they could move. Based on the movement, earthquakes could occur, right? Sometimes some types of tectonic plates, sometimes they can move away from each other, or sometimes they can move towards each other or even slide past each other. So based on the way they move, earthquakes could occur. Right, children? So here, if these tectonic plates move like this all the time, if they move relative to each other, because we are on the tectonic plates, why don't we feel it always, children? If they always move, we could feel it, right? Why don't we feel it, children? Because this movement is very, very slow, right? Okay. So tectonic plates move very slowly. It is 1 to 2 centimeters per year. For the whole year, the movement, the relative movement is only about 1 to 2 centimeters. This is why we can't feel it all the time. We could feel it if there's an earthquake, right? But otherwise, we can't feel the normal movement of tectonic plates. We cannot move. Okay, children? Right. Plate movements can be recognized on plate margins. Now we are in Sri Lanka, we are on the middle of a tectonic plate. We are not anywhere near a plate margin of a tectonic plate. That's why we don't experience a lot of earthquakes, right? But in the plate margins, the movement can be recognized, okay? Most of the plate boundaries or margins are at the bottom of the sea. We discussed this earlier. We will go to that slide again. Look at this one. Now these black lines are the tectonic plate margins, right? Look, most of these black lines go across the oceans. Here, most of these black lines go across the oceans. Only some of these margins go across the lands. Now here, it's in a land. Here it's a land area, right? This bit also a land. This is also through a land. Otherwise, most of the margins fall on the ocean, right? So here, most of the plate boundaries or margins are at the bottom of the sea, at the bottom of the sea. When they occur on land, they can be easily recognized. Look at this picture. This is one example for these type of tectonic plate boundary or margin, right? One such plate margin is located in North America. It is known as San Andreas Fault. This is the San Andreas Fault, right? It's visible in a bird's eye wave as a fracture of 1,000 kilometers in length in the state of California. See, the North American plate and the Pacific plate are situated on either side of this tectonic boundary, right? North American plate and the Pacific plate are situated on either side of this tectonic plate boundary. These two plates slide past each other for about 2.5 centimeters per year. On these tectonic boundary, earthquakes occur frequently. I told you all, the countries that are located on the tectonic plate margins could experience a lot of earthquakes. Right, children? So in this area, a lot of earthquakes could experience. Right, children? So this is known as the San Andreas Fault. Now we learned that there are huge slabs of rocks called tectonic plates. The crust is divided into tectonic plates and they move relative to each other. Children, what is the reason for this relative movement, children? Why can't they stay still? Why do they always move relative to each other? Now, so children, do you remember when we were learning about the structure of the earth, we learned that there are three main layers of the earth: the crust, mantle and the core. So I explained y'all when we learn about the mantle, The mantle contains both solid rocks and molten rocks. Solid rocks present in the upper mantle and the lower mantle contained of liquid or molten rocks, right? So here, because of these molten rocks, what happens, children? Always these molten rocks, because it's a liquid, it moves here and there. Right, children? Right. So let's consider this is the core. So when you consider the mantle, the upper part is solid, but the lower part is a liquid. You all know the liquids always flow or move from one place to another place. Because of this movement, the upper part also moves along with the crust, along with these boundary areas, along with the tectonic plate areas. Okay, so because of the movement of these molten rocks, the solid part which is above the molten rock layer is also moves relatively. Because of this, the tectonic plates also move. These three different types of movement is a result of the movement of these molten rocks. Okay? Tectonic plates float on the molten rocks of the lower mantle, right? Because of the movement of the molten rocks, tectonic plates also move, right? So this picture shows how tectonic plates slide past each other, right? So now we know there are three types of movements of tectonic plates, okay? Right. We have an assignment to do, so you all have to find more information on these type of incidents, okay? Do a literature search to find out the geological history of the earth and prepare a report. Now this will be a very, very interesting activity. Sometimes you must have done these type of activities in geography as well, right? So use the internet, reports on geological findings and geographical books, right? So mostly when you refer to the internet, you will find a lot of information, children. With the help of your adults, you can get more information. You can use the internet and get more and more information. So remember, these type of activities improve your knowledge, right? Not only the subject matter given in the textbook, but you have to read more articles and gain more knowledge on these type of topics because you are not very familiar with these type of topics. Therefore, in order to improve your knowledge, you can read a lot, and there are some videos related to these type of topics, children. Try to watch them with the help of your parents. Okay, children? Right. Activity. This is a very, very interesting activity. You all can try this activity at home very easily, okay? Demonstrating the activity of plate tectonics. What is the meaning of plate tectonics, children? Now I already explained you all. The crust of the earth is made up of tectonic plates. The crust is separated into large tectonic plates. And at the same time, these tectonic plates move relative to each other. So this movement, the scientists use this theory called plate tectonics to describe the movement of these tectonic plates. So generally, we can call the movement of the tectonic plates relative to each other as plate tectonics. Okay, children? So you all know that there are three methods of movement of these tectonic plates. Sometimes they move away from each other. This type of movement is known as divergent movement. Sometimes they move towards each other and they go one over the other, pressing the other one down. These type of movements are known as convergent movement. And sometimes they just slide past. This is known as transform movement. Okay? So what do we need to do this activity? We need an orange with a thick skin and a knife, right? We'll write an orange with a thick skin. An orange with a thick skin and a knife. Right, children, how to do this activity? The method. How to do this? Let's read. cut the peel of the orange into different shapes, or the skin of the orange. Remember, you should not cut the inner part of the orange. Only the peel should be separated. Okay, children? So keep the orange between the two palms. You have to cut only the peel part, and you have to keep the orange between two palms. And then slowly press the orange while observing the movement of parts of the peel. Right? So here, when you consider the orange, when you take the peel and the middle part of the orange, right? So what we have to do, if this is the orange, this is the middle part. You can consider now, when you take the peel, we can consider peel as the crust of the earth. And the middle part, we can consider as the combination of mantle and core. Right? Mantle plus core. And this is the crust. So in this activity, you need to cut only the crust part, which means the peel part of the earth. Crust. This is the peel. Right? So the peel of the crust, without cutting the middle part, the peel of the crust you have to cut into different shapes. Okay? Then you need to press it in between your palms. You are going to see how these different parts move relative to each other. Right? So when you cut the crust or the peel into different parts, each part represents a tectonic plate. Right? Each part represents a tectonic plate. So when you press this orange, you are going to observe how each part moves relative to each other. Some of them will go above the other. You are going to observe this activity very well. Let's do this now. Right, children? Now we are going to demonstrate the activity of plate tectonics. What is the meaning of plate tectonics, children? Now you all know that the crust of the earth is made up of different plates called tectonic plates. Now these tectonic plates move relative to each other, and this movement is known as plate tectonics. So what do we need to do this activity? We need an orange with a thick peel. Okay. So first of all, I am going to cut the peel of the orange. Now this peel is equal to the crust of the earth. So we are going to consider that crust is divided into different tectonic plates with different shapes. Therefore, I have to cut this peel, which is equal to the crust of the earth. We are going to cut this peel into different shapes. Okay. So make sure only the peel is cut. Now tectonic plates, they don't have a special shape. Therefore, we are going to cut the peel into different shapes. Right, children. So if you observe carefully, you all can see I have cut the peel part into different shapes here. So we consider these are the tectonic plates. Now we all know that tectonic plates move in 3 different ways, and they move relative to each other. Okay. Now see, if I press this orange now, I am going to press this orange between my hands. So what can you see? You all can see how the peel moves. Right? So you all can see when I do this peel moves. Okay, children? So see that when I move these 2 peels together, now I am going to consider these 2 plates, these 2 peels, 2 pieces of the peel, when I move them together like this. So observe carefully, children. So when we move 2 peels like this, you all can see if I press this peel towards this peel, right? So they glide over each other, and at the same time you can see from this side they move away from each other, right, which means divergent movement. So from one side when they move towards each other, from the other side they move away from each other. This is known as the relative movement, right? So if I press this one, you all can see very easily, you can see that these peels move, these pieces of the peels move relative to each other, right? Sometimes it creates a gulf or a slit, and from the other side they move towards each other, right children? Right. So it's very clear that using this activity you can study how the tectonic plates move, right children? So you observe this activity. I hope you all have done this easy activity at home. So what were the observations? When we press the orange with the peel cut into different shapes, what happened children? These pieces of peel, right, the crust part, we can consider that peel of the orange is equal to the crust of the earth, and when we cut it into different shapes, those shapes are equal to the tectonic plates, right? So when we press it, these pieces of peel move relative to each other, right children? So this relative movement is somewhat similar to the movement of the tectonic plates, right? Let's write. When the orange is pressed, when the orange is pressed, pieces of the peel move relative to each other. Using this movement, we can understand the movement of tectonic plates. So which is known as plate tectonics. Movement of tectonic plates is known as plate tectonics. This theory is known as plate tectonics. Right children, when the orange is pressed, the pieces of the peel move relative to each other. Using this movement, we can understand the movement of tectonic plates. So the movement of tectonic plates is known as plate tectonics. Right children, we'll move on to the next. Right. So for your extra knowledge, but this is very important. Okay. So in 2004, tsunami brought severe destruction to the coastal areas of Sri Lanka. In 2004, 26th of December, the tsunami occurred and it destructed most part of the coastal areas of Sri Lanka. 40,000 of people died. Okay. This happened because of an earthquake occurred near the Sumatra island due to collision of tectonic plates. Right? So you are going to learn more about tsunamis in the upper grades, how it happens, why it happens, how it can be that destructive likewise. Okay, children? Right. Now you can understand that the earth's crust where we live is not an immovable thing. It keeps on moving. The only thing is we can't feel it because that movement is very slow. Right, children? Okay. So we have completed this lesson now. I hope you all enjoyed the lesson. You learned a lot of new things in this lesson. Right, children? Do your readings. You have to read other articles as well in order to get more knowledge on this lesson. Okay? So what is the summary? What we have done so far, we'll go through the summary now. In the solar system, the Earth is the most suitable planet for the living beings. What is the reason, children? Because all the favorable conditions, especially water, is present. Our atmosphere contains oxygen. So you all know that we cannot live without oxygen or water, right? Our atmosphere contains oxygen gas, and at the same time our planet is the only planet with water and all the other favorable conditions to live. Okay? The inner part of the Earth consists of 3 layers: the core, the mantle, and the crust. We learned that the Earth is divided into 3 layers. The outermost layer is known as the crust, and that is the thinnest layer. And that is the layer where we are living. Okay? And the second layer is known as the mantle. And the third layer is known as the core. Core is the thickest layer. Core has 2 other areas called outer core and inner core, right? The Earth's crust consists of tectonic plates which move relative to each other, right? We learned that the Earth crust is divided into large slabs of rocks which are known as tectonic plates. These tectonic plates move relative to each other. We learned that there are 3 different ways of moving this movement of these tectonic plates. Sometimes they move away from each other, sometimes they move towards each other, and sometimes they just slide past each other. Okay? Tectonic plate margins consist of volcanoes and constant earthquakes occur near them. Right, children? So especially the countries living near the margins or the boundaries of the tectonic plates always experience these type of earthquakes. Right, children? So we have completed the lesson. In the next chapter, we are going to do the exercise. So before you watch that chapter, you all have to answer the questions all by yourselves.
To watch these important lessons, subscribe to DP Education's YouTube channel right now. Click on the bell icon to stay updated on the latest lessons. Sri Lanka's largest free online school, DP Education.